guys, it's April. It's the last time you're gonna get to see my beautiful cats this year. Sadly, October is over and that means October wrap-up time. Now, I have already done a mid-October wrap-up, so if you want to check out what I read for the first half of the month, I recommend that you go check out that video. So this here is going to be the last half of October, right here. But before I get into all of that, for those of you who haven't heard yet, Read-A-Rama Round 8 is going to be starting this weekend. So if you want more information about that, I will link my announcement video above my head and down below. It's going to be really fun because I am one of the hosts. I'm really looking forward to all the Twitter sprints. Always my favorite part of Read-A-Rama. And I have my TBR up, which I may have already failed a little bit on that TBR, and I will get to that later in this wrap-up because that is my life. It happened. But beyond that, I don't think I have much more I want to say to your faces, so I'm just going to jump into what I have read for the last 2 weeks. So the first book that I want to talk about is Jesus Feminists by Sarah Bessey. This is a look at Christianity and the Bible from a woman's perspective who is dealing with what it means to be a female in the world we are currently living in. It takes a look at biblical teachings and it takes away some of that patriarchal view of things, and it reevaluates what is actually in Christian teachings, whether or not it does have a feminist stance, and what it means to be a woman Christian. I liked this book because what she talks about I have dealt with periodically throughout my life, just because sometimes you get into certain churches and they expect women to be certain ways and do certain things and live certain kind of life, and that has always grated on me. So to hear that other women don't fit into this box that we seem to have created for ourselves was really, really refreshing. And I do like some of the looks that she dives into some of the stories in the Bible and all of the teachings, and rips away some of those preconceived notions that we as a society have put on to these words. And I enjoyed reading it. I just connected to it. And it's probably a book that I am going to recommend to some of my fellow Christian females that I hang out with, because they need to read it. There needs to be words. They need to read the words. I then picked up Warcross by Marie Lu. This is the story of Amika, who has not been dealt a lot of good in her life. She, like many others, uses the system called Warcross just to escape reality and hope for better things in life. Now Amika is special. She has developed some hacker abilities, which ends up getting her into a little bit of trouble when she accidentally hacks her way into the opening ceremonies of the Warcross Championship. Then she finds herself recruited by the game's creator to help uncover a security problem within the game. She finds herself in the middle of the Warcross Championship, at the same time trying to figure out where these security holes are coming from and what they all mean. Now, I love books like this that take technology and the gaming world and introduces virtual reality and what that could mean for our future. I love Ready Player One and I love Solar Versia, so I was really, really excited about reading this book, especially since this is from a female author. I'm all for that. I did enjoy the read. It was fun to see this different Warcross game come to life, but I found myself sitting and starting to pick apart the technology behind Warcross and trying to figure all of that out. I started feeling weird about Amiko's ability to hack and what that would mean in a VR space and how hacking this way would actually look and the fundamental aspects and physics of all of that, and then even trying to figure out the physics of the gaming system itself, because it is not necessarily just virtual reality as some people have envisioned it, where you have to like move yourself. It's actually almost plugged into your brain, and so my mind started doing trippy things and I kept on questioning certain decisions that were made in the story about hacking and gameplay and all of that. And then I also knew where the story was going because it was a plot that had been played out before in this kind of science fiction. I knew who to trust and who not to trust, and it broke apart a little bit from there. There's just so much that could have happened in this story, and I wanted so much from it. I think maybe I just built it up in my head and it just didn't quite live up to that fact. I then picked up book 2 and 3 of the Girl at Midnight series, which is The Shadow Hour and Savage Dawn. This continues Echo's journey as she is dealing with the fighting between two supernatural species, how she fits into that as a human being, what the Firebird really is, and how this is going to affect humanity and the world, and maybe it's all gonna end in a big ball of fire. I don't know how to give a synopsis for these two books without spoiling the whole series. I do like all of the mythological elements that Gray brings into this series. It was really, really nice to see, and the fact that Echo is such a literate person and how she attaches herself with all kinds of weird and bizarre concepts. She is someone after my own heart. There were just times in this story that I felt a disconnect to those characters. I liked the story as a whole and I think it concluded well. I just wasn't overly excited about it. So while I am glad that I read the series because it has a diverse cast of characters, I don't think it's something that I am ever going to reread. And then last but not least, I read Arcadia Unbound by Brandon Sanderson. This is where I failed my Read-A-Rama TBR that I just posted on Monday. After posting that TBR, I kind of sat down with this book and started leafing through it just to see what short stories were going to be in this bind-up, and then I found myself just reading. So I then proceeded to read all of these stories. So I have to refigure out my TBR. I've got a couple options on my list. I will probably be posting on Twitter asking for advice for which ones I should actually read. So I'm gonna need your guys' help. That is a thing. But Arcadia is a collection of short stories by Brandon Sanderson that are connected to all of his different series and some universes that don't necessarily fully exist yet. This pretty much brings the whole Kashmir together. It's beautiful and it's glorious and I really, really, truly enjoyed it. I think my favorite one in this series, besides Mistborn: A Secret History, which I have read previously, I really, really, really like that short story. Just seeing a little bit behind the scenes of the whole Mistborn and continuation of that series, it was good. In this read, there was also Edge Dancer, and I think that was probably by far my favorite story in this one right here. It takes place in the Stormlight Archive, which has got the next book coming out, but this takes off where the last book in that series ends, Words of Radiance, and takes place between Words of Radiance and where the new book is going to take up. Edge Dancer follows Lift as she just causes chaos as Lift only can. I love the character of Lift and how Sanderson has just developed this weird persona around Lift. I want to know more about her. There's so much possibility in that one little girl that I was excited to read the story and it was great, and I can't wait to see what kind of appearance she will make in the next book as soon as I get it in my hands. I need it in my hands now. Like right now. So those were the books that I read for the end of October. I have no idea how to end this video. I think I ended October well. I've got no complaints. I'm sad that October's over because, like I said, it's one of my favorite months. Tell me down below if you decided to wear a Halloween costume and what you were. I was a unicorn or a pegacorn, whatever you want to call a unicorn with wings. That was me. I wanted to wear my PJs to work. That's what I did. And with that, I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.